Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls of all ages, this is going to be the fast and easiest way to get the Pokedex in Pokemon Legends ZA complete. This is going to include also the Mega Evolution Pokedex. There's going to be some mild spoilers ahead. Obviously, we're going to be talking about the variety of Mega Evolutions a little bit later in the video. I'm also going to be showing you guys the map in the end game, which is going to have spoilers in terms of, you know, the wild zones and some stuff like that. So again, mild spoilers in terms of locations and stuff like that. No major story spoilers, but obviously I'm also going to be talking about some legendary Pokemon a little bit later in the video, so be wary of that too. So if you're still here, let's go ahead, jump straight into this. If you enjoy this, if you find it useful, leave it a like, subscribe for more, do a variety of Nintendo and Pokemon content here on the channel. And without further ado, my friends, let's jump into this, because this is a meaty one. So one of the things you should probably know that's going to make your life a whole lot easier as you're going through this playthrough, and you'll learn this very early in the story, is colorful screws. Basically, whenever you see like kind of a purple Pokeball, you go pick it up, and there's going to be like a big beam of purple light emanating from it. They're usually on these like scaffolding things over here. I've already picked up like most of them, so you're not going to see them here, but you're going to pick those up, and they're a colorful screw. And if you go over to this guy here at Racine Construction and talk to him, there's going to be things called canary plushes. So we can trade these screws for canary plushes. The red one is going to make it so you earn XP a little bit quicker. So if you're trying to evolve Pokemon that require XP, that could be a way to get XP a little bit quicker. The gold canary plush is specifically to earn money faster in specifically battles, rewards from battles, prize money. The pink canary is going to increase how much mega shards you're going to be earning, and again, mega shards is something we're going to be talking about a little bit later in the video. The green canary plush is going to make it so we have less of a chance of blacking out, but honestly, I don't find it that useful. Personally speaking, I would save that for last. And then the blue canary is going to be so you're more likely to succeed in catching a Pokemon. So this is probably the one that if you're trying to complete your Pokedex, I'd probably focus on the most, and then kind of whatever you feel best after that, whether you want the money or the pink canary. And again, they go up to level 4, so they start at 3 colorful screws, and then I think it's 5 colorful screws, and I think it's like 8 or whatever, and then I think that's it. I can't remember. Yeah, so level 1 to level 2 is 3 screws or something like that. Anyways, you'll see. So you're gonna need more and more screws to kind of level them up as you go along. So do that. That's gonna help you obviously through your playthrough to completing your Pokedex as well. So in Pokemon Legends ZA, there are a total of 230 Pokemon to get. Now, most of these can be caught in wild zones and throughout your playthrough. So the first tip and trick that I'm going to give you guys is pretty self-explanatory. Go to the wild zones, okay? I'm going to be showing you guys what Pokemon spawn in some of these wild zones right now. But as you're going through the main story, more and more wild zones are going to unlock. So you're going to start with like 1, 2, and 3, I believe, and you'll get different Pokemon in there. And then as you progress through the story, more of them will unlock. You'll get up to like Wild Zone 7, and then eventually 14, and so on and so forth. Right? Most of the Pokemon that you can get for your Pokedex are going to be caught in these wild zones. Now, there's going to be a few exceptions to some of the Pokemon. Obviously, some Pokemon that only evolve with trades and everything like that. I have a bunch of guides on my channel on how to evolve a variety of different Pokemon that have special kind of prerequisites to evolve them. Some of them need, special evolutionary stones, which we're going to talk about in just a second. Some of them need a variety of different things. So if you want to check out those guides, if there's any that I haven't covered, let me know and I can try to get to them at a future date. But I've covered most of the ones that I think would be the trickiest for most people and the most important to kind of get. But again, most of these you can kind of pick up in these wild zones. Now, a little bit of a mild spoiler for one last wild zone. When you beat the game, when you beat the story, you're going to get wild zone number 20, which is dead smack in the middle. And in here, there's always going to be these different alphas that are going to spawn in the middle. Why do I mention that? Because there are certain Pokemon that can spawn there. I heard that Alakazam can spawn there. I've been there a billion times and never seen Alpha Alakazam spawn there once. And while alphas specifically are not necessary for the Dex, they can be a variety of different Pokemon that maybe you'd have a hard time catching otherwise. I believe I did see Gengar here, and Gengar is actually one Pokemon I do want to mention, because Gengar is one of those Pokemon that normally you would have to trade a Haunter in order to turn it into a Gengar, but there's another way to do it. So at some point throughout the story, there's going to be main mission number 20. So main mission number 20, I'll scroll down and you guys can see it's called A Request from the Rust Syndicate. There's going to be a part where you're going to go inside of a house and you got to clear out a bunch of Gengars. That is going to be your only chance to actually catch a Gengar. If you don't catch one of those Gengars on main mission 20, then you're going to have to either wait for one of those alpha Gengars to spawn in the Wild Zone 20, which again is very random. And I've only seen it once, and I've been to, Wild Zone 20 quite a bit. Or you're going to have to trade a Haunter in order to get that Gengar. So that's kind of one thing that I'll say as you're going through this. Catch the Pokemon that are in these random areas. You're also going to end up in the sewers at some point in the game. You can go back to the sewers. So there is a sewers location right here. And then there's another one down here, and to get there you basically go from Cafe Woof and you basically just kind of go around, and you'll end up there. So basically going from Cafe Woof, you're just going to kind of go around like this, and the reason I'm showing you this is because Litwick is one of those Pokemon that are going to be down there. Goomy or whatever has a spawn that's going to be down there as well. So we're just going to keep kind of going around here. We're going to go up these stairs, and then right here we're going to be kind of taking a left. Now, there's going to be a side quest that you're going to have to do in order to gain access. You're going to have to clear this goo out with a water type move, Pokemon. And again, there's going to be a side quest. So if the side quest guy is not standing here and you don't have access, you're going to have to progress the main story till the side quest guy is here. You're going to talk to him. Then you go into the sewers, and there's a bunch of Pokemon that are a little bit more rare that you can catch in there. Goomy, by the way, usually out on the outside will spawn in certain locations in during the rain time. So some of them also have, some of the Pokemon spawns have certain kind of weather conditions, but again, I covered those in those other videos. I'm not going to completely dive into that too much in this video. Okay, so like I said, just catch as many Pokemon in all these wild zones. You're going to get the vast majority of the Pokemon that you need in these wild zones. Again, that Gengar being an exception throughout the main story mission and the Litwick in the sewers. And then there's going to be some Pokemon that are going to require evolutionary stones. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to go down here. So I'm going to show you guys from the Pokemon Center, Vernal Pokemon Center. You're going to go south to the Stone Emporium. And there's going to be a bunch of evolutionary items in here, right? So you're going to get the Firestone, Thunderstone, Waterstone, Leafstone. But then when you beat the game, you're also going to have Sunstone, Moonstone, Shiny Stone, Duskstone, Dawnstone are going to show up. I think the Ice Stone as well. And then you're going to have the fossils, which again is a whole other thing to get three of the fossil Pokemon. Again, I have an in-depth guide on that if you want to check that out. I'm not going through all of the kind of nuances in here. I'm giving tips and tricks kind of along the way to finish the Pokedex as fast and efficient as possible. In terms of the stones, there's other ways to kind of find them as well. So as you're kind of going around through the world, you're going to find things on the ground like these Pokeballs, like any other Pokemon game like these. So always be picking those up. That one ironically is actually a Pokeball. Pick those, and also pick up these shiny things, which this one ends up being a candy. Because those Pokeballs can oftentimes be stones. It could be like a Dawn Stone. It could be a shiny stone. It could be any of those evolutionary items before you're able to buy them at the Stone Emporium, so you can evolve those Pokemon even earlier before you beat the main story. And again, with these shiny items on the ground, always pick these up. Things like tiny mushrooms, for example, like I just got there, and different things like that, you're going to want to actually sell. Other things are going to be useful, like the Burn Heal or the candy to evolve your Pokemon, and things like that. So we're going to be going, for example, here, and we're going to say I like to do some shopping. I like to sell. We're going to go to our treasures, and then I can just kind of sell all of my treasures. Actually, you can bulk sell if you push the X button, and I can sell all of my treasures, and look at that. I can make like 81,000 Pokedollars pretty quickly. So always be picking those things up on the ground to get money, because there's a couple things we're going to need, to use money with, right? There's going to be the Pokeballs, which as you progress through the game, you're going to be able to buy, obviously more variety of different Pokeballs. There's also a Pokeball, like, what are these called? I think like an emporium of some sort or whatever, that I guess have a little bit more of a variety of Pokeballs to buy from or to choose from. Although I think the majority are sold here at these Pokemon centers as well. So, that's obviously one thing you're going to need money for, because you're going to be catching a lot of these Pokemon. Obviously, Ultra Balls are going to be your best bet. Quick Balls are going to be something that, on the first kind of throw, and if it's used before they spot you, it's going to increase the chances. So, utilize Quick Balls for those first throws. Timer Balls, if for some reason you're really struggling with a Pokemon you know, the more kind of that a battle was to go on, timer balls are more effective. That'd probably be more useful once we get to the legendary Pokemon. But yeah, things like that. Just read what all the different Pokeballs do. But that would be my tip for the money. And then the other thing we're going to need the money for, which we're going to be talking about in just a second. We're not getting there just quite yet, but just keep this in mind, is for some of the Mega Evolution Stones, so we can fill in our Mega Evolution Pokedex. Okay, so we talked about, you know, a variety of different things here. So some Pokemon require increasing their friendship to evolve them. If you've been around the Pokemon series for any amount of time, you probably already know that. If this is your first Pokemon game, well, hey, welcome. And basically, that's how it works. There's some Pokemon you need to increase their friendship. How do you do that in this game? Well, there's these kind of cafes, if you will. So, for example, this one here is called the Nouveau Cafe, which in French is New Cafe. And so little things like that, cafes that you can find around the map. When you select one of the Pokemon in the bottom left corner, so with the D-pad, so let's say I want to select my Lucario, and then I go and order something, right? So I go up here and I say I want something from the coffee menu. I just always grab the burn up roast for whatever reason. Or, you know, once you've ordered something so many times, you can just click my usual. When you do that, it's going to cost you 300 Pokedollars, and you're just going to basically chill with whatever Pokemon you had selected, like I said, at the bottom left corner, and that's going to increase your friendship. Typically, to evolve a Pokemon that requires, you know, increasing its friendship, you would need to order like roughly 3 to 5 times from my experience. Okay, and then you don't have to sit here for any time. You just leave whenever you want. You can leave right away, and that just kind of increases the friendship just a little bit. So that's how increasing friendship works in Pokemon Legends ZA. If you want to know which Pokemon require increasing friendship to evolve them, again, if you check out all my evolutionary guides, I go through that. There's like 3 of the Eeveelutions, for example, that requires that, and some others. Friendship, that's how you increase friendship in Pokemon Legends ZA. Okay, so you're going along the way, right? And now you got most of the Pokemon, but now you're wondering, okay, what about the starters, right? Because I chose, let's say you chose, I don't know, Tepig like I did, which is probably a bad choice. But let's say you chose Tepig and there's 2 other starters. And there's also the other starters from the other region, right? From like the Kanto region, you know, we got Charmander and we got, you know, Squirtle and Bulbasaur and all that. And then there's also, you know, Chikorita, or sorry, that's one of these starters. There's also Chespin and all them. Well, they can be found in the Wild Zone 20 once you've completed the game. So if you come here, again, you can see actually Alpha Chikorita is kind of hanging out here, which is pretty interesting. If you just kind of go around here, again, I made a video on this specifically. You can find them all here. Some of the other ones, so like Chespin, Froakie, and Fennekin, there's actually side missions. You can also get them a little bit earlier in the game. So again, I made a whole video on all 9 of the starters if you want a little bit more in-depth. But again, you can see Charmander kind of hanging out here. Another Charmander over here. So Wild Zone 20 is where you're going to find those 9 starters. Actually, quick correction, 6 of the starters are found in Wild Zone 20. Froakie, besides the side quest, which again you can find in my other video, that one can be found in Wild Zone 16. Chespin, again, there's a side quest for that, or can be found in Wild Zone 17. And Fennekin, again, there's going to be a side quest for that, can be found in Wild Zone 18 on the roof. So make sure that if you go into Wild Zone 18, it's on the roof, because that one can be a little bit harder. You have to go up the scaffolding and then onto the rooftop, and you'll find Fennekin up there. So you get the 2 starters that you're missing from, you know, this game itself, and then the other starters, again, Totodile right there. So you get the kind of gist of that. That's how you're gonna get those starters. And look, even, you know, Bulbasaur is right there. So again, they're very common spawns. You can just kind of sleep on the bench to pass time, to kind of reset the spawns and whatnot, and you'll pretty much be good to go. All right, so once you got those, we got some other ones to talk about, and those are going to be trade Pokemon that require trading. So for example, Kadabra trades and evolves to Alakazam when you trade it. All you got to do is trade it to someone. It says to trade, you basically got to go over to the menu. You're going to go to Link Play. You're going to go to Link Trade, and you can set up a code and then send it to someone. You can feel free to use the description, or sorry, the comment section, or our Discord, which you can find linked in the description below. We have a channel in our Discord with for Pokemon. A lot of Pokemon fans in there, or of course there's the official Pokemon Discord that you can go into as well. So Link Trades, how you're going to do that. So Kadabra evolves into Alakazam just from trading it. Haunter into Gengar just from trading it. And then you got a couple other ones that you're going to trade with specific items. So for example, you're going to have something like the Sachet, which is going to be used to evolve Spritzy into Aromatisse, if I'm pronouncing the name right. I'm probably butchering it. Whipped Cream to evolve Swirlix into Slurpuff. And then if I scroll up just a little bit, Metal Coat is going to be given to Scyther to evolve it into a Scissor. And then finally, there's a King's Rock to give to Slowpoke to evolve it into a Slowking. And to give it, you just click on it, you click Give to Pokemon, you select the Pokemon to give it to, and you're pretty much good to go. As long as the Pokemon's not already holding one of those Mega Stones, because then you're going to have to remove the Mega Stone off of it first, of course. So again, trading with those. If you want to know how to find those, again, I did more of an in-depth video on that, but to kind of go through it a little bit kind of more rapidly. So if you go down here to rescind construction, so we get here, we can go inside, and again, you can only go inside a little bit later in the game, maybe 2/3 through the game. And when you go in here, there's going to be these two guys. If you talk to one of them, you can actually buy stuff, which is going to be Metal Coat. This guy's going to sell King's Rock if you talk to him. But there's also side missions that you can complete to do this as well. So if I go to my side missions here, there's certain side missions as I'm kind of going through here that you're going to see are going to give me it. So for example, 014 is going to give me Whipped Dream ×2. And there's going to be a couple other ones here too that's going to give me, of course, the King's Rock and different things like that, the Metal Coat and whatnot. So again, if you want to know exactly which side missions you can get these items from, or where to find these side missions rather, there's 084 for the King's Rock. You can watch that other video that I made, Metal Coat from 101. And yeah, that's pretty much a way to get it, I guess, maybe a little bit earlier in the game. But again, you're going to need those evolutionary or those trade items to give to Pokemon to then trade it. Unfortunately, that's the only way to get those Pokemon. Okay, so I said I'm also going to help you complete the Mega Dex as well. And we're going to be talking about one other thing regarding the main Dex in just a second. But I'm kind of going in terms of increasing spoilers. So this is going to be obviously some stronger spoilers because we're going to be showing you guys all of the Mega Evolutions. If you don't want to know about that, come back at a later date. But if you're still here, let's jump into this. So if I open up my Dex, you can see the Mega Evolution. If I push R when I'm in my Pokedex, there's the Mega Evolution Pokedex. And in here, there's a bunch. There's 63 total. And you don't have to actually activate all of them. All you have to do is get all of their stones. Some of these stones are actually obtained, at least 10, I think 10 or more are obtained just through the main story. But some of them you're going to have to buy with 2 different kinds of currencies. So remember I said how to earn money earlier in the video. If you missed that part, go back and check it out. Well, if you don't know how to earn the money fast, again, you can check that out. One of the places we're going to go is that Stone Emporium, which is going to be south of the Pokemon Center. And again, more of these are going to be available as you progress through the main story, but you can see some of the Mega Stones are going to be purchased here with money. Some of these down here are like 100,000. Some of these up here are kind of like more closer to like 40 to 70,000 Poké Dollars. So they're pretty pricey. You're going to need a lot of money if you want to get them all. That's one of the methods. Well, not one of the methods. That's one of the ways to get some of the stones. But you can't get all the stones that way. So there's other stones you got to get with a different currency, and that currency is Mega Shards. I made a video on the fastest way to get Mega Shards, but to kind of run you quickly through it, and I'll show you what Mega Shards are if you don't know what I'm talking about in a second. There's 3 main spawn locations, maybe 4. Hotel Z, if you go to there, and on the right side, when you spawn in, on the right side, you climb up a ladder, and you kind of explore the rooftops. There's a bunch kind of spawning up there. If you go to Zone 9, and again, if you want to see this a little more in depth, check out that other video. If you go in here, and you climb up into the rooftops in Wild Zone 9, there's a big chunk of shards up there. If you're not done the story yet, there should be a wall around the middle area of this map, and there's going to be a ton that are spawning in on there. And then the last one is going to be right up here by Cafe Lana. I'm actually going to show you guys, or La Ya, not Lana. I'll show you guys this one because it's very, very close. If I go to, again, Cafe Lana at the top left corner, and I go just kind of right around the corner over here, these are the Mega Crystals right here. And there's a ton on the wall. See what I'm saying? These respawn about every 10 minutes or so. So once you've completed all these, just kind of, go do something else, or you can keep exploring. The rooftops are very, very good for collecting these. So I'm going to pop out Lucario, someone who has a very, very quick move. So extreme speed, it makes it very, very quick. I can just do that. And yes, he will climb up into the walls, and then I can go back up again, do that again. And he's just kind of collecting those Mega Shards just like that, you see. So that's going to be very, very, very useful to collect these Mega Shards, and you're going to need a lot of Mega Shards. And again, there's Canary plushes we can get to increase the amount of Mega Shards we're going to get, and in the world there's these things called colorful screws. Again, go back to that section a little bit earlier in the video, you can check that out. But essentially, once we've collected enough of these shards, and it caps, by the way, at 999, so you're going to want to spend them you know, kind of more frequently. So you can see right here under your other items how many you have. You're going to go purchase these other Mega Stones over here in Quasartico Inc. right here. So when we go in here, what we're going to do is we're going to head straight to the right. And so the person on the right hand corner is where we're going to buy all of these shards. Some of the more stones, some of these stones are going to be 360, some of them are going to be 240 shards per stone, and some of them are going to be, I think it was 180, but there's a lot in here, as you guys can see. And then you can still use Mega Shards, by the way, later on for even candies and some of the power belt weights and belts and whatever, all that stuff. So there is actually a couple exceptions for the Mega Stones. First of all, the Gardevoir Mega Stone is available through a mystery gift. So if you go to the link play in the menu and then you go to mystery gift, you can go there. It's available up until February 28, 2026. So it's only for a few months. The Greninjite is for season 1 of the ZA Battle Club ranked battles season 1. Again, if you go to linked play, you go to the battles. I covered the Greninjite or whatever how you pronounce it in a different video. There's also going to be another one for Delphox in season 2, and then one for Chestnut or whatever, Chestnut rather, Mega Chestnut in season 3. And again, you have to get to rank K in this season in order to get that you know, Mega Stone, if you will. So those are just a couple exceptions to just being able to buy them and obviously progressing through the story, as I mentioned. That's Mega Stones. That's how to get all the Mega Stones. Once you've purchased them all and you've beaten the story, you should have every single one except maybe one, which is getting into the legendary Pokemon section. Okay, so now we're getting into the major spoiler section, and that is going to be legendary Pokemon. Now, of course, I made a little bit more of an in-depth guide on legendary Pokemon, so if you missed that, check that out. That'll help you kind of get all the legendary Pokemon a little bit more in-depth, a little bit more kind of, you know, nuanced information in there. But the gist of it is when you beat the main story, you're going to eventually get some more missions that are going to unlock. You're going to get the Infinite ZA Royale, the one that gives, the one that takes, and once you complete those 3, you're going to unlock to keep the world in balance. So the Infinite ZA Royale is going to require you to get 15 Challengers tickets in total, which you do by battling at night. So whenever it's night, there's going to be these red battle zones. You go in there. There's going to be tickets on the ground that you can pick up. They have different, you know, bonus cards that have, you know, additional points you can earn for doing specific challenges. And then once you complete a Challenger's ticket, you're going to need 50,000 points for that. You're going to go to Quasartico Inc., which is up here, and then you're going to do a challenge. And if you do 15 in a row on the 15th, you're going to face your rival. And if you beat her, she's going to give you one of the first ones, which is going to be Floette. But technically, Floette you can already kind of get. So Floette, though, this one comes with a very specific stone, and that's how you're going to get your last Mega Stone you see. So again, that's how you're going to get the last Mega Stone. She's going to give you the Floette Mega Stone as well. So you're going to have to do that. This one's very tedious. But before you finish that, you're also going to get 40 and 41 to pop up. These 3 are going to pop up all at the same time. You can do 40 and 41. One of them is going to be to get Yveltal, and then one of them is going to be to get Xerneas, so the X and Y legendary Pokemon. They're not too difficult to catch. Again, if you want a full kind of in-depth guide on how to catch those, I made that. I don't want to waste time in this video with that. But once you complete all 3 of these missions, a 4th mission is going to appear, which is 42 to keep the world in balance. You're going to have to go back to Hotel Z. You're going to have to talk to L, and then eventually Zygarde is going to go and want to battle you. He's going to be in Wild Zone 20, dead center in the middle. Then you're going to have to battle him. He's going to have 3 waves, and a little tricky. I would suggest bringing something like Gardevoir in, who does very good with the fairy moves and is very resistant to Zygarde. And you should be good to go, and then that's going to be how you're going to catch that last Pokemon. So that's how you get the legendaries. Again, I don't want to get too much in depth in this video, since I've already covered that in another video more in depth, but I wanted to kind of, you know, skim it real quick, let you guys know, give you a couple tips and tricks on how to catch those legendaries at the very end as well. Wow. Okay, so all in all, if you've been kind of doing all of the things that I've told you to do, and you've been evolving these Pokemon, again, the ones that you're maybe unsure how to evolve, I have guides for. The last one I'll give you a tip and trick on, by the way, is Beldum, though. That one's a little bit tricky to actually find. So Beldum is going to be a Pokemon that you're going to find over in Lysandre Cafe. So if you go in there and you go kind of into the bottom area, you'll kind of find them somewhere in the Lysandre labs, basically, which is underneath the cafe. So you'll find them down there. But all in all, if you follow my tips and tricks, it'll make your life a little bit easier as you try to complete this Pokedex. And if you're wondering, hey, what do I get for completing the Pokedex? My answer to you after all of this is absolutely nothing. But it is part of something else, which we're going to talk about in a whole other video, which is Mable's research. So Mable's research, of course, we need to do some things to get the shiny charm. As you see, I completed the Pokedex, which normally gets you the shiny charm in a Pokemon game, but not in this game. This game, you got to complete all of Mable's research, which has some tedious tasks in it. So again, that's a lot more to cover in a different video. So we'll be talking about the fastest and easiest way to get that shiny charm, again, in a different video. But this one, it's going to be its own thing to complete the Pokedex, because a lot of her requests are going to be to complete the Pokedex, basically fill in the Pokedex, catch all these different kind of Pokemon. So you'll be a lot closer to level 50 if you at least complete the Pokedex, and then we can go from there in the next video. If you enjoyed this one, if you have any questions, let me know in the comments below. Leave a like, subscribe for more, and let us know if you have any additional tips and tricks that I didn't cover in this video. Otherwise, thanks for watching, and until the next one, game on and happy hunting.